Hello, my name is Laura, and welcome to my channel. Um, Today, you're going to watch me make a quilt in the middle of a heat wave. Great timing. Um, all of these squares have been cut up by me as I've made other projects, so I've kind of had this like massive bag of leftover squares of fabric that I cut up. Um, in preparation to make a quilt. And so I finally, with trying not to spend and trying to use and make things from what I already have, I decided to pull these out and make a quilt. I really, really just wanted to like make a few blocks. Um, so what you're watching me do is like organizing to see what blocks I have and if there's going to be enough squares. And around the time that I began sewing all of these, I learned that my friend is going to be moving to Iowa. I thought she was going to move to California, but that was not the case. She moved to, or she's going to move to Iowa. And so then suddenly I put a deadline on myself to finish this quilt before she goes. And I had like a week and a half, maybe. So yeah, I wanted to do the fancy half square triangle. Oh gosh, I used to know there was I will think of half square. I feel like is right. Anyway, you sew two lines down diagonally, and then when you're finished, you cut them apart, and it gets you two blocks basically. Um, so yeah, that was the main process for making the vast majority of like the blocks. Um, you'll see me line them up too, just to make sure that I have like enough for the larger block that I'm making. I wanted to do um, a star pattern. So this was me testing out the star pattern from one that was posted on Pinterest that did not have any name associated with it, so I apologize. But this is a pretty basic block pattern. I feel like I've seen a few quilts that looked like this. You'll get a better view. Oh, and my so here I am sewing them together now that they've been laid out. I'm sewing them together. Strip by strip basically. This was actually a lot of fun. Building the blocks I think is my favorite part. I don't know that I did a particularly good job, but I did do some ironing, which helped a lot in the process. And actually, with the way that I cut everything out, most of my squares, my final like larger blocks, matched up with each other. Like I did not have to trim off much to square them up in the end. But so now you're going to see me lay out a whole bunch of different colors. Now that I've tested out the block, I like it. I am now going to do the rest for the rest of it. So I don't show this part too much of me laying out what fabrics I want to choose together, mainly because I had to do this. I think I did this 19 times. I did 19 blocks total, and then I actually had to make another block because I wanted to do 20. Um, so yeah, you are going to watch me line all of these up. And that was a lot of fun. I had to take a break kind of from making things and just like zone out. This month, July, went by so fast. I've been playing video games, and I think that probably sucked up a lot of my time. Um, I started a new game that's pretty similar to um, Animal Crossing. It's called Cozy Grove, I believe. And this is not sponsored, but instead of like villagers, there are ghosts, and you have to help them with their memories. This is one of my favorite blocks, by the way. I loved how this one came out. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and so I've been playing that, and I've been trying to finish Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I'm like super delayed on. I've also been attempting to read regularly. So far it's been daily, but I'm also not like trying to pressure myself too much, but I do have a bunch of books that I have to read. So right now I'm still reading For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. I'm like over halfway through. It's fun. Definitely tropey, but you can tell that she knows it. But it's definitely fun. Basically, it's like a twist on Little Red Riding Hood with magic and evil force spirits and stuff. I'm hoping actually I can finish that today. That would be nice. I had to take a moment to try to remember what happened this month actually and why I needed a little break from filming. I had car troubles. That was really stressful. That was no fun. It was just an alternator and battery problem and a little bit of an oil leak. But I actually am kind of interested in, I need to get the manual and breakdown for my car because I would actually like to kind of make some adjustments and fix up some parts myself because I know I'm fully capable of it. And I don't really want to be spending that much money with, gross guys telling me that I should talk to the mechanic about how to check my oil. Because, I don't know how to do that. um, yeah, that was no fun. But it's running now, and, you know, it is what it is. So, it even more reason to, buckle down on spending and using up what I have. I will say that this project was a lot of fun and it gave me a lot of ideas for the supplies that I have and remaining stuff. I did break down though and buy another eyeshadow palette, which I probably don't need, but it's been on my wish list and like the FOMO was real. And that is the Dios de los Muertos, the blue and red palette. Melt restocked it. They brought it back, and so I snatched that up. I've duped that palette a few times, and it's still like I've wanted it. So I feel like, given that I've been so good, and that you know I've wanted it for that long, I went ahead and got it. So it's on its way. I'm very excited about it. And that was my one treat probably for this month. But I think it was worth it. I have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy it for a while. The heat wave that everybody is kind of going through right now, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest. This past week was rough. Um, our house can only have so many ACs running at a time, and I have roommates, and so because I work from home, I kind of just had the AC on during the day, and then at night I began sleeping downstairs because I didn't want to fight over the AC. But yeah, that was rough. But we made it through it, and I finished a quilt. Heat stroke was very real. I was very careful on the hours and the time that I spent on making this quilt, especially the finishing process. Because, like, sewing the blocks, that really just took a day because I did most of that on my sewing machine. So, um, oh, there are all the blocks finished. Speak of the devil. And there's that 20th one that I made, which was just a simple 16 patch or something like that. Now I'm grabbing all the rest of the materials that I need to finish it. But yeah, I made sure that like during the hottest part of the day, or not the hottest part of the day, but I just made sure that like I was monitoring my heat levels, and yeah, I managed to finish. So what I did is I cut up strips of this. It's a sheet, and I put them. Basically, when it's all put together, it'll look like it's each square is surrounded by a strip of fabric. But first, I did them in rows, and then I cut up the fabric to do them in columns, and that was how I pieced together the top. And here we are. Okay, so putting and trying to figure out, uh, laying this out so that I could do the backing process that I do, which is using a giant embroidery hoop and hand stitching. That's why I was so worried about the heat. Um, I had been told by like a family friend, older family friend, to start in the middle and then, go outwards. So I was like lining things up, but they don't all measure the same amount. And it was super hot trying to do this. What was I thinking? Anyway, I struggle with it for a while, and I'm thinking to myself, there has got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to this. And there was. So I decided not to do it from the middle. I lined up one corner so that, because I knew that at least one corner was going to be good and straight. So I lined it up from one corner, both across the top and down, and then left the bottom and the other side unpinned. Um, and that way I could make it more even and not have to worry about warping. Because I've done it before where there's warping and there's like bunching and it's a mess. This game changer, starting from the corner and working out. So I had to line everything up. I did my best to make sure that there were no lumps or bumps. This is going to help in the process. So I'm folding it this way first, and then I'll actually fold it in the other direction just to make sure that it's all flat. I don't have any bumps at all. All 3 layers are laying evenly, and again, no bumps. And then I fold it in the other direction to do the same. And I'm actually going to trim off the edges of the batting just because it's so hot that like I don't need it. The process for the embroidery hoop is on the corner that I pinned, and you're not looking at it because you're going to watch me continue doing this part. I don't get much footage of me embroidering. Here I am cutting. But basically on that other corner where it's like it's the corner where the 2 sides are pinned, that's where I started embroidery, and I went downwards on one side for like lengthwise. I did that first, and then I went back to the top and went out. So yeah, that was so that I slowly moved to the bottom corner, which had no pins, right? And then that makes it as even as possible. And that worked way better than starting in the middle. I will never start in the middle again, ever again. Especially if everything's lined up properly, there's no need. No need. So, yeah, here I am cutting. Ugh, it was terribly, terribly hot. And as you can see, it's all pinned, and I will show you where I'm starting. So that embroidery hoop, I think it's technically not even an embroidery hoop. I think it's called like a quilting hoop. And this was how you did it before the long arm machine. You put it on there, make sure it's taut, and then you sew through all 3 layers. I just followed the pattern of the blocks, and that just keeps everything in place and like makes it all nice. So here is me prepping to bring it in front of the air conditioning where I did not film so that I could just focus on that, and here it is finished. It worked out beautifully. That process, again, like I said, I'm going to do it for sure again. I sewed following the block lines, so close up. I will show you close up that there are lines on where the blocks are. I think I did a pretty good job of like laying them out so that nothing was next to each other. I was a little worried about the too much colors, but I think it worked out. So see, you can see my stitch line. I just went around the blocks, but I didn't even, by the end, I didn't do all of the stitch lines or block lines because I thought I was running out of time. And I mean, I was. I was cutting it to the deadline. I didn't think I was going to finish in time. Anyway, it's basically the size of a twin. But it'll lay on a queen or a full, just not drape over the sides. And then this is the back, just a plain fabric. You can kind of see the stitches through it. I used an old sheet for the back of it that I had actually gotten for making a dress. And yeah. The edging, I just flipped over the back of the sheet. I trimmed it all up and flipped it over and hand stitched that as well. And I'm really happy with this quilt. I think it might be the nicest quilt I've ever made. I definitely want to make more quilts. I have plenty more scrap fabric left. So that will be in the future at some point. Probably not the next project. It's just too hot really to be doing this in the summer. But I can't wait to give this to my friend. I have a feeling she'll love it. She actually wound up getting COVID. She fell ill the day that we were supposed to hang out. So I got a little bit more time to do a better job of finishing the quilt. Which was good for me, not good for her. She's doing better, for sure, which I am so happy for her. Anyway, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon with another project from my closet. Closet project? I don't know. All right, bye!